Hi, Trevor here, reflecting on live through music. Thank you for stopping by, as always. Well, I trust you enjoyed my last video, 1970s to 80s supergroup, The Babies. And through their song, Isn't It Time? We looked at that very thing. Isn't it a time for a relationship to start, or isn't it time for that conversation to happen? Isn't it time? So I trust you found that one encouraging. Well, there's a bit of a link here with the band today. So it all hinges around the band Journey as well. So Journey were an absolute powerhouse arena rock band. They formed in 1973, and between 1973 and around 1987, there were 10 studio albums, and everywhere the Journey went, there was just fan after fan after fan wanting to see their absolutely stunningly brilliant musician idols in action. Now, they sold around 48 million albums in that particular time, and they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2017. So, pretty significant band in the scheme of things. Well, it was around 1987 that lead singer Steve Perry said, "Hey, look, guys, I'm a bit tired. I've been doing this thing for a while. I've been doing your lead vocals for ages. I think I can't do it anymore." And so Journey thought, right, we can't really replace Steve. He has been our voice, and we don't want to do that. And so they thought, well, what are we going to do now? So Jonathan Cain, Neil Schon, and Dean Castronova thought, well, we want to keep doing something. So what are we going to do? Then Jonathan Cain said, hey, hang on a minute, guys. Before Journey, there was this other band, The Babies. You remember that song, Isn't It Time? Absolutely massive song. And I wonder what John Waite's doing right now. I reckon we could get him on lead vocals. So they gave John a call, and John said, yeah, let's do that. That sounds pretty cool. It'd be great to work with you again, Jonathan. Absolutely. And why don't we give Ricky a call, and he can be our bass player. And so Jonathan, John, Ricky, Neil, and Dean got together and formed the band Bad English. Now, this was a much anticipated joining together, because these guys are absolutely stunning musicians, all five of them. And when you've got such power on stage, it can only be really cool. And you put in there all the songwriting as well. We've got a pretty amazing thing happening. Of course, it wasn't long before record label signed them. And then in 1989, so that's just 2 years after Reformation, out came the self-titled album, Bad English. Now, as I've been doing of late, I'm going to refer to the songs. All of the links are in the description below as we go. Now, off that self-titled album, there were 6 singles released, and I'm going to refer to 4 of those. First of all, Forget Me Not. Typical hard rock, glam rock right here. We got the official clip on that one. We then got The Price of Love. That's the live version. It's always good to get a live version of any act on stage. Then we got Heaven Is a 4-Letter Word, which is the official clip. But when you do think of Bad English, the song you have to talk about is When I See You Smile. This is very much a power ballad, this one. And this went to #1 in the US and Canada. So there we go. And I reckon it did pretty well all around the rest of the world as well. Now, When I See You Smile, I Can Change the World. Oh, it's just a beautiful song about the concept of, hey, how great is it when that special smooth person smiles at you? Because it's more than just a smile. It's actually, it goes into your inner being and gives you a sense of warmth and comfort and all the rest of it. When I see you smile, I can change the world. There's some beautiful lines right there. The sparkly eyes and all of the look and the love and all the rest of it that goes along with that. But let's take smiling one concept further. When you walk down the street, quite funny these days, people very rarely will look at anybody else anymore. Or if they are looking, they're looking at their phone. Or if they are looking at their phone, they might have their headphones in at the same time. So in a sense, we've got someone who can't see and can't hear, and misses all of these little nuances that happen as we walk down during our days. But you know what? When you do smile at someone, they tend to smile back. Now, I'm not talking about like that creepy kind of smile. I'm just talking about this little smile, perhaps a little bit of a nod of the head, and then they smile back normally. And then what happens is they kind of leave that little moment in time, just feeling that little bit lighter somehow. That's there another human being has acknowledged them. I catch the tram to work, and I get off a little bit earlier, and I do walk about 20 minutes each day. And as I get off the tram, there's a lass that walking the other way off, and she is looking at her phone with her headphones in. And I thought, well, smiling at her is not really going to work because she's always looking down. But if I wave as well, yeah, that might get a reaction. So sure enough, now I'm not interested in this girl. It's just all about connection from one human to another. So I'm not trying to get on with her or anything. It's just saying hi, really. And I did wave, and last time she smiled back. So I'm thinking, in amongst, I suppose, that numbness of phones and headphones, that perhaps her day started off just that little bit easier because someone actually made the point of trying to connect with it. So, I tend to see this girl from time to time, so I must keep trying that. One day she might actually take her headphones off. I actually had that happen with someone else at a tram stop. She would have her headphones in, but when she would see me, she'd take the headphones out of her ears. What an absolute privilege that one is. And so we talk about staff and work and all the rest of it. So you know what? When I see you smile, I'm going to smile back. So when we smile, now obviously there is one place where we go where there won't be people looking at their phones and won't have their headphones in, and that is at shops. So when you get served by someone, what's the main reason you go? Is the main reason you go to buy the thing? Well, it is, but more than that, it's about connecting with the staff and say, hey, thank you, thanks for how's your day going and all the rest of it. I like to connect with people that I see quite often. I get to know people's names and thank them for their service and all the rest of it. Because you know what? They remember you. I can think of another story. I've got this little coffee pot that I've been making coffee in, and I was getting a bit marked, and I took back to the shop and said, hey, how do you clean this? And the guy took me inside, hey, look, I'll show you this little thing and this will clean up. Well, sure enough, it did. It was an absolute magic thing. So I went back with the thing and I made a point of saying, hey, thank you. And I must admit, it created a bit of a stir in the shop because everyone was getting really excited that someone had actually come back with a continuing story. And the great thing about that is, from my perspective, I suppose, that whenever I walk into that shop, people know me and people kind of, make conversation. This is what happens when you smile at people. We've forgotten this knack of just connecting. Before phones, this is what happened all the time, but we don't do it anymore. So let's not get out of the habit of smiling. And certainly with our partners, if they do smile, it's a gift, right? Because the person you love is smiling at you, and you can change the world because of that smile. So obviously you're going to also smile, because when they see you smile, I'm sure they get similar feelings. So lift our eyes, guy. I've got a bit of a hashtag on Facebook, lift your eyes. Because, the world is out there, and, the sky is beautiful blue and the clouds are in the sky, and it's just stunning. Let's look up more, guys, because we're missing out, I reckon. So 1989, so the links to those 4 clips are in the description below. Then out in 1991 came the album Backlash. And one of the well-known songs from that one is Straight to Your Heart. So we've got the clip on that one as well. The critics came out and said slightly more spirited than the debut. The debut was a little bit too commercial pop rock. This had a little bit more grunt to it, and so therefore sort of a bit of a more like a better album, really. But because of that, when I See You Smile and the airplay it got, that was literally the album you think of when you think of Bad English. But Backlash apparently was a better album. But there we go. What happened after that? Well, there was rumours of Journey getting back together, which happened in the late 1990s. The last album didn't go so well, so it was just kind of a natural evolving away from Bad English as time get on. You know, one by one they went off on their solo projects, and Bad English was no more. Then out in night, and it's quite funny. I've been in bands too, where you know, when it's the last gig, you know, people just tend to leave and walk away, and that's kind of it. You know, you get to know each other a little bit, but not beyond the music stuff. It's interesting how bands operate. Absolutely. I do play keyboards, and I really, really enjoy that. So I think of people like Jonathan Cain. They're kind of one of my heroes. ELO, another band who I love. Obviously, Jeff Downs from Asia. You know, but Jonathan Cain was the guy that wrote, that did the iconic Don't Stop Believing keyboard riff. So there we go. So out came a greatest hits album in 1995, and they did release around 8 singles. 6 of those came off their first album. Sold around 1 million albums. So, you know, in the scheme of things, not too bad. You know, gold is not a bad effort. And then they just went off and did their things after that. Of course, I've already done a video on the Babies and John Waite, and he had another single. He could have wanted to got one of these voices, and he just keeps doing what he does. And the world's so much richer because he's part of it, that is for sure. He's got one of the voices, particularly in the 1970s and 80s. So the links to those, how many songs? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 clips are in the description below. And I've also included my last video from the Babies, so if you want to recap from them, feel free. Well, how's your 2023 going so far? I trust it's going okay for you. The world has absolutely started, and you know, we're already getting some outcomes for clients. It's pretty amazing. So that's it for today. Next time we're going to go on to rock pop duo the Everly Brothers. So until then, I'll catch you around. Bye for now.